Hi again, YouTube. Well, we're getting ready to build our very first coil. What I'd recommend you do is look down below and check out the video that's linked called Steam Engine. Okay, it's an application that will help you design your very first coil. So before you know what tools you want to use, you probably should look at that one first. However, if you want to stick around and just see what's going on here, we'll dive right down and we'll look at the basic set of tools that you need to build your first coil. Here we go. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing you're going to need is something around which you're going to wrap your wire to form the coil. Now that can be just about anything, really. It doesn't matter too much. And I've got 4 examples here of the types of things you can use. The first one is very simple. This is just a nail that I took out of my toolbox and nipped the flat part of the nail off and nipped the pointy part of the nail off, and then just took it over to a little grinding wheel and smoothed it up. So the only important thing about the object that you use is you need to know what size it is, and you can use a micrometer, a digital micrometer, or a caliper to measure the diameter of this object. And you want it to be somewhere between, let's say, 2 millimeters and 4 millimeters. 3 millimeters being pretty much ideal, the thickness of it, because a lot of coils are 3 millimeters in diameter that you end up building. Here's another choice. You might have one of these little cheapy screwdrivers laying around, and again, just know what the diameter of the screwdriver shaft is. Here's one I made up from a piece of drill rod that you can buy online or at a hardware store, I suppose. And I'm fortunate enough to have a little machine shop in my cellar, so I made a knurled brass end for it, just something to hold on, and it looks nice. You don't need anything that fancy, really. The fourth and final tool I'm going to show you is one of these specialized tools made by a company named Coil Master, and all it is really is it's got these interchangeable rods that you can put in the handle portion and screw on the cap to hold it steady. And it's got this other portion which has 2 sides to it. It comes with, I think, 3 of these things, different sizes, 2.5 millimeters and 3.0 millimeters. So this is a 3 millimeter rod, and that fits over there. Now if you notice right here, there's a little screw. Let me get it a little closer so you can get a good look at it, hopefully. It's got a little screw embedded in here so that when it's on this shaft and you spin it around, that little screw grabs the wire and drags it around the shaft to form the coil. So those are some basic tools you can use. Anything from a nail to a screwdriver to something you make up yourself to a store-bought specialized tool. Okay, so now that you've got your nail or screwdriver or specialized tool, you're going to need a pair of nippers. These are known as flush cutting nippers. You can find them at places like Harbor Freight Tools or stores like that. Hobby Lobby, I suppose, sells some of these too. Or you can buy them online, anywhere from $3 up to probably $20, but you don't need to go crazy. Get yourself a nice pair that cuts flush. Notice that the edge is flat here so that you can sneak right up on what you're cutting and cut it flush with another object. That's important, as you'll see later when we install the coil into the atomizer and need to trim off the excess to make the coil fit nicely in the atomizer. So that's the second thing you need, a pair of cutters. So far we have something to wrap the coil around and something to cut the wire with. The third thing you're going to want to pick up is a pair of ceramic tipped tweezers. These are just like regular tweezers, except instead of steel or stainless steel metal at the tip ends, they've got these two little pieces of ceramic material. And the reason for that is sometimes these coils need to be adjusted when they're being heated up on the test stand or on the mod. And you need to squeeze the coil together. You cannot squeeze a coil that's having power supplied to it with metal tweezers. It will short out the whole operation. So these are ceramic. They're both heat resistant and non-conductive. So you need a pair of non-conductive tweezers. You can pick these up online for $5 or less, or you can go expensive and get some fancy ones. Another item I recommend is a pair of needle nose or curved needle nose pliers like these. It's good for grabbing the coil and pulling it to make it tight while holding the other end after it's wrapped around your wrapping object. Let me show you what I mean. I've got a coil that I've made right here before all this started. I know you can't see it, it's rather small. Perhaps I can zoom it in a little so you can take a good look at it. So that's a coil that I've made, and when you wrap it around whatever it is you're going to wrap it on, I'll put it on this right here, and you want to tighten it up, you want to hold the coil on this end and give it a tug on this end to make the wrap nice and tight without spinning out of control. Then you can turn it around and do the same thing on this side. Grab the end of the coil and pull it without letting it spin around. And that gives you a nice looking, not only a nice looking coil, but a nice uniform coil that will get the job done quite nicely. So you'll need some pliers, needle nose variety, either bent or these. I really like these. These have a short needle nose section, and these I use most frequently right here. So that's the next item you'll need. This item is optional. When you build your coil and you want to test its resistance, you can either, after it's installed in the atomizer tank, you want to test the resistance before you actually use it. And this is a good device to use. You can see it's got a 510 connector right here, and you screw the base of your atomizer onto it, and you just flip the switch, and it reads the resistance of your atomizer. Also, with this model, if you flip the switch in the up position, it's got a little fire button right here that you press to actually preheat your coil. So this is not necessary, but is useful. They take an 1860 battery, and I'll show you right here. It's got an 18650 battery in there, and it lasts a long time, the battery charge. It doesn't use much energy when you're just building your coils. So that's an optional item. Now at some point you're going to be putting cotton into your coil, and to do that you're going to need a pair of good tweezers. There are all kinds and shapes. Here's a pair of tweezers I'm fond of. They're kind of micro-tipped. But get yourself a pair of good tweezers to help you pull the cotton through the coil and tuck it in. And with these nice sharp ones, you can thin out the cotton. But you'll see. So, those are the basic items you need. Let me show them to you all one at a time here. There is the object around which you're to wrap your coil, some cutters, a pair of needle nose type pliers, forgot the ceramic tweezers, and a pair of regular tweezers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 objects. Oh yeah, how about this as an option right here? That's optional. The resistance tester, tweezers, cheapy screwdriver, flush cutting cutters, needle nose pliers, and ceramic tweezers. With those objects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, you've got everything you need to build your first coil.